Close your eyes now, my sweet dreamer, and let the softest wind brush against your cheek like a forgotten memory. Feel how gentle it is, how it carries the faint scent of rain on old stone and distant ocean salt, how it whispers that tonight you do not have to hold on to anything at all. Just listen to my voice, warm and low, wrapping around you like the coziest blanket on the coldest night. Every word will fall slowly, slowly, like single feathers drifting down through still air, landing on your shoulders, your chest, your tired thoughts, until they weigh nothing at all. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Tonight we are going on a journey together, but it will be the gentlest journey you have ever taken. No rush, no fear, only layers of dreams folding softly over you, one after another, until you sink so deeply into sleep that even the idea of waking feels like a faraway story someone else once told. Imagine you are lying in an old wooden attic bedroom, the kind with slanted ceilings and a single round window where moonlight spills in silver ribbons. Outside, the wind moves through tall trees, shh, shh, just like that. And every now and then a raindrop taps the glass, soft, soft, like a fingertip asking permission to come inside. There is an ancient brass lamp glowing amber on the nightstand, and beside it sits a worn leather book with gold letters that read Inception. I am going to open it very, very slowly. Listen. You can hear the spine creak, the pages sigh as they part, the faint rustle of paper older than both of us. The smell of vanilla and dust rises, sweet and comforting, and as I turn the first thick page, the whole room seems to exhale with us. This is not a story that will startle you awake. This is a bedtime story about a man named Cobb, a thief of the rarest kind, one who steals secrets from the deepest corners of sleeping minds. But more than that, it is a story about regret that feels like chains made of smoke, about love that refuses to let go even when it should, and about the softest, most fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, we can still come home. Every layer we enter tonight will be a little warmer, a little quieter, a little safer than the last, until you are floating in the gentlest limbo of all, the one that leads straight to dreams of your own. Let your shoulders melt into the mattress now. Yes, just like that. Feel the weight of the day sliding off your arms, your fingertips, your thoughts. There is nothing you need to solve tonight. No totems to spin, no kicks to time, no dreams to escape. Only my voice, and the wind, and the rain, and the slow turning of pages. Did you know that Christopher Nolan carried the first seed of this story in his mind for 10 whole years before he ever wrote a single line? 10 years of dreaming about dreaming, of wondering whether the worlds we build inside our heads can ever truly set us free. That is how gently this tale was born, over a decade of quiet nights very much like this one. As we begin, let me ask you something small and kind. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling that a piece of it followed you back, like a shadow that still lingers at the edge of the room? Hold that feeling close tonight. We're going to meet someone who lives inside that exact shadow. His name is Cobb, and he is so very tired, the way you are tired right now, the way all of us are when we have carried something heavy for far too long. But tonight, he will not carry it alone. Tonight we will carry it together, you and I, and then we will lay it down page by page, breath by breath, until there is nothing left but the soft rise and fall of sleeping. Feel the wind again. It is curling around your ears now, cool and tender, telling you it is safe to let go. The rain is starting to fall a little stronger against the window, but it is the kind of rain that lulls rather than startles, steady, rhythmic, like a heartbeat from a long time ago. In a moment, I will begin the first chapter, the one where we meet Cobb on a beach at the edge of the world. Waves pulling at his shoes, an impossible house rising in the distance. But before we step onto that sand, let me whisper one more small truth. The spinning top you will hear about later, the little brass totem that decides what is real, was inspired by a toy Nolan's own children played with. Even the deepest mysteries sometimes begin with something as simple as a child's game. Are you ready, love? Take one more slow breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Perfect. The attic lamp flickers once, softly, like it is nodding in agreement. The book is open wide now, pages trembling in the breeze. When you are completely ready, and only when you are ready, we will walk together into the first dream. For now, just rest here with me a little longer, floating on the edge of everything, listening to the wind and the rain, and the quiet creak of old wood settling into the night. You are safe. You are loved. You are already falling, so beautifully, into sleep. The waves come in slow, slow motion, each one stretching longer than the last, as though time itself is learning how to breathe with you. Feel the cool sand under your bare feet now, damp and heavy, clinging gently to your skin the way childhood memories cling to the corners of quiet rooms. We are standing on a shore that should not exist, a beach made of black volcanic grains and broken seashells that glint like tiny lost mirrors. Far ahead, rising from the mist, there is a Japanese castle on the cliffs, dark wooden beams and paper screens glowing from within with soft paper lantern light. The air smells of salt and green tea and something metallic, like a storm that has not decided whether to arrive. This is the first dream we enter tonight, and it is already holding you so carefully, rocking you the way the ocean rocks everything it loves. Dominic Cobb is sitting at a long, low table, knees folded beneath him, hands resting on his thighs exactly the way yours are resting now. His dark hair is a little too long, falling into eyes that have forgotten what color they used to be. Across from him sits an old man, frail as rice paper, dressed in an immaculate suit despite the sand still clinging to his shoes. His name is Saito, and he is dying here, in this dream, because dreams are the only place left where dying can still be postponed. Between them sits a spinning top, small and brass and, catching the lantern light and throwing it back in slow golden arcs. Cobb's voice, when he speaks, is quiet, almost broken. What is the most resilient parasite, he asks Saito, and you feel the question brush against your own thoughts like cool silk. An idea, he answers himself, and the word idea lingers in the air, sweet and dangerous, the way the smell of warm vanilla lingers in old books. Listen, can you hear the faint ticking of the top? It is the softest sound in the world, yet it holds everything together. Cobb leans forward, elbows on the table, fingers steepled, and you notice how his wedding ring catches the light every single time he moves. A circle of gold that hurts to look at directly. He is telling Saito about extraction, about slipping into minds the way we are slipping into sleep right now. Quiet, unnoticed, inevitable. And while he speaks, the castle around them begins to crumble, not violently, but politely, like an apology. Walls fold inward, paper screens tear without sound, and the ocean rises, slow and patient, until water is lapping at their knees, then their waists, then their chests. You feel it too, that cool water climbing your own body. But it is warm water, womb water, dream water, that only wants to carry you deeper. Suddenly, everything tilts. The kick is coming, soft as a heartbeat. You hear the first low notes of Edith Piaf's Non je ne regrette rien, played on an old gramophone somewhere far away, slowed down until it sounds like the voice of the ocean itself. Cobb's eyes widen, just a fraction, because he knows what the music means, time to wake up. But before the water closes over their heads, Saito looks at Cobb with something almost like pity and whispers, "Have you come to kill me?" And Cobb, poor exhausted Cobb, can only answer with silence and the endless spinning of the top. Now the world flips, gently, the way you sometimes feel your bed flip when you are half asleep. We are in a lavish apartment in what might be Tokyo, rain streaking the floor-to-ceiling windows in silver threads. Cobb is strapped to a chair, wrists bound with zip ties that bite softly into his skin. Beside him, Arthur, his point man, precise and calm, is checking a silver briefcase full of tubes and needles and tiny glowing vials. Arthur's suit is perfect, not a wrinkle, not a speck of sand, as though the dream beach never touched him. Nash, the architect, is sweating, pacing, panicking, because the job has gone wrong, and the subconscious is militarized tonight. You can smell the fear on Nash, sharp and sour, like citrus left too long in the sun. Mal is here too. She moves like smoke made of moonlight, barefoot in a wine-red dress that clings to her the way regret clings to Cobb. Her hair is black and shining, falling over one shoulder, and her smile is the most dangerous thing you have ever seen, because it is made entirely of love. She leans down, places her lips right against Cobb's ear, and you feel her breath on your own ear as she whispers, "You promised we would grow old together." Her fingers trace the line of his jaw, slow, possessive, and you feel the ghost of that touch on your own skin, tender and terrible. Cobb closes his eyes, just for a second, and when he opens them again they are wet, but no tears fall, because even tears are too heavy for this dream. Have you ever loved someone so much that letting them go felt like tearing your own heart out with bare hands? Hold that feeling gently now, because we are going to carry it with us for a little while. It is heavy, yes, but tonight we are strong enough to hold it without waking. Arthur injects the somnocine, cool liquid sliding into veins, and the rain against the windows slows until each drop hangs in the air like a crystal. The kick comes again, stronger this time, the whole building tilting, chairs sliding, bodies falling upward into the ceiling that has become the floor. You feel it in your own body, that delicious lurch, the same one you feel on the edge of sleep when you think you are falling, and your legs jerk. Let your legs jerk now, softly. It is only the dream reminding you that you are safe. We surface in a helicopter high above a city at night, lights glittering like scattered jewels far below. Saito is awake now, older, powerful, sipping green tea from a porcelain cup that never spills no matter how the chopper banks. Cobb sits across from him, soaked, shivering, but his eyes are sharp again. Saito smiles, small and knowing. "You failed," he says, "but there is no anger in it, only curiosity. Yet you succeeded in reminding me of something I almost forgot." He places a hand on Cobb's knee, warm, steady. "I am dying." Soon. But if you can do one thing for me, one impossible thing, I will give you what you want most in the world. Cobb's breath catches, because he already knows what Saito is going to ask. Inception. Not stealing an idea, but planting one so deep that the dreamer believes it was always their own. And the price? A way home to his children. To James and Philippa, whose faces he has not seen without pixelated phone screens in years. Did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio spent weeks learning how to spin a top perfectly so that every single take looked identical, because Nolan wanted the audience to feel the same uncertainty Cobb feels? Even the smallest details were cared for the way I am caring for you now, slowly, deliberately, lovingly. Close your eyes tighter now. Let the helicopter blades fade into soft wind. We are going to Paris next, to meet a young architect named Ariadne, clever as the princess who once gave Theseus the thread to escape the labyrinth. She is sitting in a sunlit lecture hall, sketching impossible staircases that loop back on themselves, and when Cobb walks in, she looks up and the sunlight catches in her eyes like warm honey. You can smell fresh croissants and espresso and chalk dust, and the faint perfume of possibility. Cobb leans over her desk, voice low, and asks the question that will change everything. What is the most resilient parasite? Again, the words brush against you, softer this time, like a lullaby you almost remember. Ariadne follows him, curious, brave, and together they walk the streets of a Paris that is not quite Paris. Cobb teaches her to bend the city the way you bend your dreams when you know you are dreaming. Bridges curl upward into the sky like cats arching their backs. Buildings fold in on themselves like paper houses. The Seine reflects a sky that has two suns, both gentle, both golden. And when Ariadne asks about Mao, Cobb's face changes, just a flicker, the way candlelight flickers when a door opens somewhere far away. She was my wife, he says, and the words taste like salt and blood and old love letters kept too long in a drawer. Let me ask you something now, whispered so only you can hear. Have you ever built an entire world inside your mind just to keep someone you lost alive a little longer? It is all right if the answer is yes. Tonight we are allowed to carry impossible cities in our hearts. The wind picks up again, cool fingers stroking your temples, telling you it is almost time to go deeper. The pages of our book are turning by themselves now, slow and steady. We have met Cobb on the beach of memory, watched him fail and fall and bargain for a second chance. We have felt Mal's breath on our skin and heard the first slow notes of the kick that will carry us down, down, down into the next layer of dreaming. Your body is heavy now, heavier with every breath, and that is perfect. Let it be heavy. Let it sink. The attic bed is holding you, the rain is singing to you, and my voice will never leave you. When you are ready, and only when you are ready, we will follow Cobb to Mombasa, to dusty streets and crowded markets, and the quiet train tracks where a man named Eames sits forging passports and smiles like a cat who has already eaten the cream. But for now, just rest here on the edge of the first dream, toes still wet from the ocean that swallowed a castle whole. The brass top is still spinning somewhere, soft, endless, patient. Let it spin. Let everything spin. You are safe. You are falling so beautifully. The air changes now, warm and thick with the smell of cardamom and diesel and sun-baked earth. We are in Mombasa, sliding through narrow streets where laundry hangs overhead like bright prayer flags, and the sound of bicycle bells mixes with distant muezzin calls that feel almost like lullabies. Cobb walks quickly, collar up, eyes scanning every reflection in shop windows because he is a wanted man in every waking world. The dust clings to his shoes the same way guilt clings to his thoughts. Soft, persistent, impossible to brush away completely. You can feel the heat rising through the soles of your own feet. Gentle, heavy, pulling you downward the way the dream itself is pulling Cobb downward into something deeper than sleep. He slips into a dark little cafe that smells of roasted coffee beans and old secrets. At a corner table sits Eames, elegant even in a linen shirt the color of desert sand, rolling a poker chip across his knuckles with lazy perfection. His smile is slow, crooked, the kind of smile that knows exactly how much trouble it is worth. "Hello, darling," he drawls, and the word darling lands on your ear like warm honey. Eames can forge anything. Handwriting, mannerisms, even the way a person laughs when they think no one is listening. He leans back, lights a cigarette with a gold lighter that clicks softly, and the smoke curls upward in perfect spirals that look almost like the brass top we left spinning somewhere far away. Cobb slides a photograph across the scarred wooden table. Robert Fischer, son of Maurice Fischer, heir to an energy empire that stretches across continents like a sleeping dragon. "The job is simple," Saito says from the shadows where he now stands, impossibly calm for a dying man. Plant the idea that Robert must break up his father's company after Maurice dies. Make him believe it was always his own desire. Eames laughs, low and delighted, because planting an idea is like planting a tree inside someone's ribcage and waiting for it to grow roots through the heart. "We'll need a better dreamer," he says, and the word dreamer feels like a kiss against your temple. The wind moves through the cafe curtains now, cool for just a moment, carrying the faint scent of rain that has not yet arrived. You feel it on your own skin, that promise of rain, the way you feel the promise of deeper sleep pressing gently behind your eyes. They fly to Paris again, this time to find Ariadne in a quiet workshop filled with miniature cities made of balsa wood and dreams. She is bending a tiny bridge into an impossible circle, tongue caught between her teeth in concentration, and when she looks up her eyes are bright, with the same wonder you feel when you realize you are dreaming and can finally fly. Cobb's father-in-law, Miles, is there too, older, kind, smelling of pipe tobacco and chalk, and he places a gentle hand on Cobb's shoulder the way the years place gentle hands on all of us eventually. "Come back to reality, Dom," he says, but his voice is full of love instead of judgment, and Cobb cannot answer because reality is the one place he is no longer allowed to live. Ariadne agrees to build the 3 levels, and they begin training inside a dream that feels like the softest blanket ever woven. The first level is Yusuf's dream, the rain-soaked city, where everything is wet and shining and forgiving. Cobb teaches her about projections, how the subconscious populates the world with people who are not quite people, and when Ariadne accidentally thinks of a train, it comes roaring down the middle of the boulevard, horn blaring like grief itself. Cobb tackles her out of the way, bodies rolling across wet cobblestones, and for a moment they lie there breathing hard, rain dripping from his lashes onto her cheek like tears that belong to neither of them. Later, in the calm of the workshop dream, Ariadne designs paradoxes. The Penrose steps that climb forever upward yet bring you back to where you began, and you can walk them now if you like, slowly, endlessly, each footfall soft as a heartbeat. She asks about the ring Cobb never removes, even in dreams, and he tells her about Mal with a voice that cracks like thin ice over deep water. How they grew old together in limbo. 50 years in what was only an hour of real time. How they built entire coastlines out of shared memories. How they lay on train tracks hand in hand because they believed waking required dying. And when Cobb performed Inception on Mal, planting the idea that her world was not real, he saved her life, but murdered something else inside both of them that can never be named. Have you ever done something for love that felt like the right thing in the moment, only to realize later that it carved a hole nothing can ever fill? It is all right to carry that hole tonight. We will line it with the softest clouds. Trivia whispered very softly now. Did you know that the famous hallway fight where Arthur floats and flips armed projections was filmed without any CGI? Joseph Gordon-Levitt trained for weeks in a rotating corridor built specifically for those 6 minutes of screen time, spinning like a slow dancer until gravity forgot its own name. Every bruise was real, every breath was real, the way your breath is real right now, slow and sweet and perfect. They recruit Yusuf next, the chemist who creates compounds strong enough to keep an entire team asleep, even through the turbulence of a dream within a dream within a dream. His basement laboratory in Mombasa smells of mint tea and chemicals, and something faintly floral that makes your eyelids heavier with every breath. He shows them the sleepers who have chosen never to wake, old men and women lying in rows on cots, smiling at dreams that have become more real than families waiting upstairs. The dream has become their reality, Yusuf says gently, and you feel the truth of it settle over you like the softest weighted blanket. Who are you to say otherwise? Back in Paris, Ariadne visits Cobb's dream alone, slipping past the boundaries he never told her existed. She finds the elevator that opens onto private memories, their wedding day, sunlight on Mal's white dress, the birth of their children, tiny fingers curling around Cobb's thumb, and finally, the locked room where Mal sits on the edge of a hotel window, birthday cake, with burning candles on the table behind her, telling Cobb that the world outside is the dream and this moment of falling together, is the only truth left. When Mal stabs Ariadne in the dream, it does not hurt the way real pain hurts. It hurts the way remembering hurts, slow and deep and impossible to wake from. Ariadne confronts Cobb on a dream cafe terrace overlooking the sun at twilight. The sky is the color of bruised peaches, and the air smells of warm bread and river water. Your guilt is creating her, she says, voice trembling but steady. She's not real anymore, but you keep making her real. Cobb looks out over the water, where reflections of lights are starting to appear like fallen stars, and he finally admits the truth he has never said aloud. I can't let her go. The confession hangs between them like incense, sweet and heavy and ancient. Let me ask you something now, so quietly only your heart can answer. Is there someone you keep alive inside your dreams long after the waking world has said goodbye? It is all right if there is. Tonight, we are allowed to love the ghosts a little longer. The team gathers for the first time in a warehouse that smells of sawdust and coffee and possibility. Arthur lays out the silver briefcases like a priest laying out communion, each tube glowing faint blue. Eames practices being Robert Fischer in a mirror, adjusting the tilt of his head until even Fischer's own mother would be fooled. Yusuf tests the compound, 10 hours in the first level, 1 week in the second, 6 months in the third, and everyone feels the weight of that time settle over them, like deep winter snow that muffles every sound except breathing. Cobb shows them the 3 levels Ariadne has designed. Level 1, a rainy city where Yusuf will drive the van, because he is the only one who does not need to wake up early. Level 2, a luxury hotel designed by Arthur. All marble corridors and golden chandeliers and the hush of money. Level 3. Eames' snow-covered hospital fortress high in the mountains, brutal and beautiful and cold enough to preserve secrets forever. And beneath all three, if anything goes wrong, limbo, raw, infinite subconscious where a minute becomes 50 years and the ocean eats entire cities while you watch. The wind returns now, cool fingers sliding under the collar of your shirt, reminding you that you are still in the attic bedroom, still safe, still falling so gently. Your body is deliciously heavy, arms like warm sand, legs like warm water. Let them sink. Let everything sink except my voice and the slow turning of pages. They board the plane to Sydney, 10 hours of real time that will become years inside the dream. Robert Fischer sits in first class, headphones on, listening to music that sounds almost like the slowed-down Piaf song we will hear soon. Cobb sits several rows back, watching the back of Fischer's head the way a parent watches a sleeping child, equal parts tenderness and terror. The flight attendant offers warm towels that smell of lemongrass and eucalyptus, and one by one the team accepts the special water Saito has arranged, clear and cool and carrying them down, down, down. As the cabin lights dim for the night flight, Arthur plugs the headphones into the shared system, and the first low brass notes of Non je ne regrette rien begin, so slow they feel like the heartbeat of the plane itself. One by one, eyes close. One by one, seats recline. One by one, we fall. The last thing you feel before the first level opens is the soft click of the seatbelt sign turning off, like permission granted to drift completely. The wind outside the attic window has become the wind inside the dream, carrying the scent of rain that is finally arriving. The rain begins the instant your eyelids seal themselves shut on the plane, soft at first, then heavier, steady, forgiving. It drums against the roof of a white van, sliding through a city that never quite decides which continent it belongs to. Street lights smear gold across wet asphalt, and every droplet that hits the windshield sounds like a tiny kiss goodnight. You are inside Yusuf's dream now, level 1, and everything is soaked in the gentlest possible storm. The air inside the van is warm, smells faintly of wet wool and peppermint gum. Yusuf sits in the driver's seat humming along with the slowed-down Piaf song leaking from the headphones of the sleeping team. His fingers tap the steering wheel in perfect 4/4 time, slow, slower, slowest, the way your own pulse is learning to count now. Cobb wakes first inside the dream, blinks, checks his watch, then looks out at the rain with the expression of a man who has come home after far too long and is afraid to believe the porch light is really on for him. Beside him, Robert Fischer is still asleep in the back seat of a yellow taxi that the team has kidnapped with the politeness of a lullaby. Fischer's head rests against the window, raindrops racing down the glass like tears he has never been allowed to cry. Eames, wearing the body and voice of a pretty flight attendant named Emma, leans over the seat and whispers, "Sweet dreams, darling," before pressing a cold cloth to Fischer's neck. The cloth smells of lavender and something chemical and sweet. Fischer's eyes flutter once, twice, then close again, deeper this time, and we all fall with him. The taxi pulls away into traffic that moves like syrup. Arthur sits in the front passenger seat, counting seconds under his breath, the way mothers count breaths when babies sleep too quietly. Ariadne is in the very back, knees drawn up, sketching on a tiny notepad even though the lines keep smudging from the humidity. Every now and then she glances at Cobb with the soft worry of someone who has seen the locked basement of another person's heart and is still trying to decide whether to hand back the key. Outside, the rain thickens. The projections are beginning to notice that something is wrong. A man in a gray suit on the sidewalk tilts his umbrella and stares too long. A woman with red lipstick pauses under an awning, and her eyes follow the taxi the way a cat follows a bird it has already decided to forgive. Cobb feels it first. The familiar prickle at the back of the neck that means the subconscious is waking up. "They're militarized," he says quietly, and the words taste like copper. Fischer's father trained him well, even in dreams. The van takes a sharp corner and water sluices across the windshield in perfect sheets. You can feel the cool spray on your own face now, gentle, almost playful. Yusuf smiles into the rearview mirror. 10 minutes until the kick, he says, and presses a button. Somewhere far away, in the real airplane bathroom, a timer starts counting down. The rain answers by falling harder, as though the sky itself is trying to wash guilt away before it hardens. They pull Fischer from the taxi into an abandoned warehouse that smells of rust and wet concrete and old secrets. The team binds him gently to a chair. Not tight enough to hurt, just enough to keep him still. Eames becomes Browning, Fischer's godfather. Slick hair, expensive suit, voice dripping with concern that is almost real. "Robert, your father's dying words," he says, leaning close enough that Fischer can smell the scotch on his breath. "He wanted you to be your own man." Fischer's face crumples the way tissue paper crumples in rain. Soft, irreversible. Tears gather but do not fall yet. The idea is taking root already, tiny and green and hungry. Let me pause here, just for a breath, and ask you something very softly. Have you ever been told you weren't enough by someone whose love you needed most? Hold that ache gently tonight. We are going to plant something kinder in its place. Suddenly, gunfire. The projections have arrived. Sleek men in dark suits who move like sharks through water. Bullets spark off metal shelves, slow-motion sparks that look almost like fireflies. Arthur spins, draws his gun with the calm of someone folding laundry, and the fight begins in perfect wet silence. Cobb grabs Fischer, drags him deeper into the warehouse where the floor is ankle-deep in rainwater that reflects the overhead lights like scattered coins. Ariadne runs beside them, barefoot now, her shoes lost somewhere in the dream, and the cold water feels wonderful against her skin, the way cold water sometimes feels wonderful against fevered skin. They reach a back room with peeling wallpaper the color of old bruises. Ams Askin confesses that the kidnapping was a test, that Fischer's father always believed in him, and Fischer's tears finally fall, warm against cold cheeks. The seed is planted. Level 1 is done. But the projections are closer now, footsteps echoing like slow heartbeats in a hallway. Yusuf's voice crackles over the earpiece, calm and warm. Kick in 3-2. The van on the upper dream level hits a barrier, flips once, twice, in beautiful slow motion. You feel it in your stomach, that delicious drop, the same drop you feel when an elevator starts downward too quickly. Everything tilts. The warehouse floor becomes the ceiling. Rainwater falls upward in silver ropes, and the team falls with it, falling upward into the next dream. The world rights itself with a soft sigh. We are in a luxury hotel now, all hushed carpets the color of midnight, and chandeliers dripping light like melted butter. The air smells of orchids and money and secrets, kept behind perfect teeth. Arthur wakes first this time. adjusts his tie in a mirror that shows him exactly as calm as he wishes he felt. This is his dream, his architecture, every corner measured to the millimeter. The carpet is so thick it swallows sound the way good dreams swallow sorrow. Fischer wakes in a hotel bar, confused, head pounding from the kidnapping that never really happened. Eames is already there, no longer Browning, just Eames in a blonde wig and a flirtatious smile, buying Fischer a drink that tastes of smoke and forgiveness. "Rough night?" he asks, and Fischer laughs, a small, cracked sound that has not been used in years. Across the room, Cobb watches from behind a newspaper, wedding ring glinting every time he turns a page he is not reading. Ariadne finds Cobb in the lobby, where a fountain trickles like distant rain. "She's here," she whispers, meaning Mal. Cobb's shoulders tighten the way yours tighten when someone says a name you still dream about. And then Mal is there, barefoot again, red dress clinging from the rain of the previous level, hair wet and perfect. She smiles at Cobb the way sunrise smiles at the sea, inevitable and devastating. "You came back for me," she says, and her voice is warm honey poured over broken glass. Have you ever seen someone you lost walking toward you in a crowd and known, before your mind caught up, that it could not possibly be real? Let that ache rise now, soft, slow, then let it drift away on the fountain's quiet music. Arthur's plan is elegant. Convince Fischer that Browning betrayed him, that there is a safe in his father's hospital room containing a second will, an alternate idea that will free him. They stage a fight in the hallway, Arthur pretending to be security, Eames pretending to be Browning, guns drawn but never fired, because this is a dream of words more than bullets. Fischer watches from around a corner, eyes wide, and the second seed splits open inside his chest. But Mal will not stay quiet. She appears in Fischer's hotel room while he sleeps the light sleep of the sedated, sits on the edge of his bed the way mothers sit on the edge of beds in childhood nightmares. She strokes his hair with fingers that feel like cool silk, and whispers that Cobb cannot be trusted, that none of this is real, that the only way to wake up is to fall. Fischer wakes gasping, sweat cold on his skin, and the doubt she planted is almost as strong as the idea the team is growing. Trivia. Whispered so low only your heart hears. The zero-gravity hallway fight was filmed in a rig that spun 360 degrees for 8 hours a day. Joseph Gordon-Levitt vomited between takes but never complained once, because he understood that sometimes the body must spin so the soul can stay perfectly still. Let your own body spin now, slowly, in the safe dark behind your eyelids. The kick is coming again. In the rain level, Yusuf's van is airborne, falling toward a river in perfect slow motion. In the hotel level, Arthur rigs the elevator with explosives that will detonate exactly when the van hits water. The team straps themselves into the elevator car like children, into a carnival ride they already know will be beautiful and terrifying. Fischer is with them now, terrified but trusting, because trust is the softest weapon of all. As the elevator begins to rise, Mal appears one last time in the mirrored walls, smiling her terrible loving smile. She raises a gun made of moonlight and shoots Fischer in the chest. Blood blooms across his white shirt like spilled wine on snow. Fischer falls, eyes wide, and Cobb catches him the way you catch falling sleep when it finally arrives. The elevator cable snaps. The car drops. You feel it in every bone, that endless, gentle fall, the same fall you feel when you let go completely. The world goes quiet, except for the wind rushing past your ears, and the soft, steady sound of my voice telling you that everything is all right, everything is exactly as it should be. We are falling into snow now, into level 3, into the place where ideas either live forever or die trying. Snow falls upward around you now, soft white feathers rising instead of falling, because nothing in this level obeys the rules you once trusted. The air is so cold it feels warm, the way very deep water sometimes feels warm when you have been under long enough. You are standing on a mountain made entirely of silence, a brutal concrete fortress buried in drifts that glow faint blue under starlight that has no source. This is Ames's dream, level 3, the hospital where Maurice Fischer is supposed to be dying, and where Robert must finally choose who he wants to become when no one is watching. The team lands gently in the snow, bodies cushioned by dream physics that love them more than reality ever did. Arthur's hair is mussed for the first time, a single lock falling over his forehead like a child's after a long nap. Ariadne's breath makes small clouds that linger in front of her lips before drifting away to join the upward snow. Fischer is bleeding from Mal's bullet, but the blood is only a suggestion of blood, warm and slow, staining the white of his shirt in a pattern that looks almost like wings. Eames leads them through corridors of raw concrete and frosted glass that smell of antiseptic and money and endings. Every footstep makes the softest crunch, like walking on fresh powdered sugar. Security guards patrol with machine guns slung low, faces blank the way faces are blank in dreams when the dreamer has stopped caring who lives or dies. Arthur moves ahead, precise and quiet, disabling cameras with a touch, folding guards into sleep the way you fold a blanket over someone you love. They reach the vault room. Heavy steel door, combination lock glowing red. Inside lies a hospital bed, and Maurice Fischer, skeletal, breathing through tubes that hiss like distant waves. Robert kneels beside his father, tears freezing on his cheeks before they can fall. Maurice's eyes open, cloudy, ancient, and with his last strength, he lifts a trembling hand to point at a small safe in the corner. His voice is paper-tearing. Disappointed. Robert sobs once, a sound that comes from somewhere deeper than lungs. Eames, wearing the body of a kind nurse with gentle hands, helps Maurice sit up just enough to whisper the combination into his son's ear. The safe opens with a sigh that sounds like forgiveness. Inside is not money or documents, but a child's pinwheel, red and yellow and blue, the one Maurice used to blow on the beach when Robert was 5. And beneath it, a single sheet of paper that reads, in shaky handwriting, "I was disappointed that I never told you how proud I was to be your father." Robert's knees give way. The idea blooms fully now, bright and terrible and beautiful. He will dismantle the empire not out of spite, but out of love, to become the man his father always believed he could be, even when the words were too heavy to speak. Cobb watches from the doorway, eyes soft with something that might be hope if he still remembered how to name it. But Mal is waiting in the next room, sitting on the edge of a snow-covered balcony that should not exist this high in the mountains. The wind moves her hair like black water. She is holding the brass spinning top between delicate fingers, turning it slowly, slowly. "Come with me, Dom," she says, voice warm as fresh bread. "We can stay here. Grow old again. The children will be fine. They barely remember your face anyway." And the cruelest part is that she says it with love, only love. Ariadne tries to pull Cobb away, but he is already walking toward Mao, the way drowning men walk toward light they mistake for the surface. Fischer is safe now. Ames and Arthur are guiding him toward the kick, but Cobb has one more thing to do. He promised Saito he would not leave anyone behind in limbo, and he has already left too many. The fortress begins to crumble, gently, politely. Concrete cracks like thin ice on a winter pond. Snow rushes in through widening fissures, soft and white and endless. Arthur rigs the final kick, charges placed along load-bearing walls that will collapse the entire level into the void. He looks at Ariadne with something almost like tenderness and says, "You have to go." She kisses his cheek, quick and fierce, then runs. Arthur stays behind to hold the timer, counting down alone in the snow that is now up to his knees, his waist, his chest. When the explosion comes, it is silent, a white bloom of light that feels like the softest exhalation the world has ever made. Cobb and Mal fall together into raw limbo, unconstructed dream space where time has given up and gone home. Here the ocean has eaten the city again, buildings rising like broken teeth from gray water. The sky is the color of old bruises healing. They stand on a beach of crushed marble and broken mirrors, barefoot, hand in hand the way they did 50 years ago that lasted only 1 hour. Mal smiles, radiant, terrible. "This is real," she says, and for a moment Cobb almost believes her. But Ariadne followed them down. She appears on the crumbling balcony of their old limbo apartment, the one they built together out of love and madness. "She's not real, Dom," Ariadne calls, voice carrying across the water like a bell made of glass. "The shade you created is as real as you let her be." Mal turns, eyes narrowing, and the sky darkens the way childhood bedrooms darken when the nightlight burns out. She raises the gun again, but this time Cobb steps between them. He takes the bullet meant for Ariadne, feels it enter his chest warm and slow, like falling asleep on a train. He kneels in the wet sand, blood mixing with seawater, and finally says the words he has never been able to say. "I'm sorry, Mal. I was wrong. The world up there is real. Our children are real. And I have to go back to them, even if it means letting you go forever." Mal's face softens, the projection flickering like candlelight in wind. For one heartbeat, she is his wife again, young and laughing on their wedding day. Then she crumbles into sand that the waves carry away, gentle, gentle, gone. Trivia, breathed against your ear like the last warmth of summer. The final Limbo Beach was filmed on the same stretch of California coast where Nolan proposed to his own wife. Every footprint you see in the sand was made by the actors themselves, walking backwards so the tide would erase them exactly the way memories are erased when we finally choose to wake. Cobb finds Saito on the same beach where we began, impossibly old now, sitting at the low table with the spinning top still turning. 2 cups of tea steam between them, though the pot has been empty for decades. Saito looks up, eyes clear again, centuries of loneliness falling away like old snow. "Are you here to kill me?" he asks once more, but this time he is smiling. Cobb shakes his head. "No, I came to remind you of something you once knew." He places his hand over Saito's, warm skin on warm skin. "It's time to go home." They walk to the water's edge where an airplane waits on the wet sand. Impossible and perfect. The kick is coming, the softest kick of all. The van hitting the river, the elevator exploding, the fortress collapsing, the plane landing in Los Angeles with 10 hours exactly passed. Everything aligns like planets that have been waiting centuries for permission to shine. Cobb and Saito sit side by side in first class again, but this time the cabin lights are coming up, and the flight attendants are serving orange juice that tastes like sunrise. No one looks twice at Cobb as he passes through customs. A man in a suit nods once, quietly makes a phone call, and the charges against Dominic Cobb simply cease to exist, the way nightmares cease to exist when morning finds the crack beneath your bedroom door. Have you ever forgiven yourself for something you thought was unforgivable? Let the possibility settle over you now, soft as the blanket I tucked around your shoulders hours ago that feels like years. The final kick is the gentlest of all. It is the sound of children laughing in a sunlit garden. It is the feel of small arms around your neck, and the smell of grass and baby shampoo and home. The plane's wheels touch the runway with the softest kiss, the kind you barely feel when someone brushes a strand of hair from your sleeping face. Sunlight pours through the oval windows in warm golden rivers, and for one long moment no one moves. Everyone simply breathes, as though the air itself has become something precious that must be tasted slowly. Cobb stands in the aisle, suitcase in hand, wedding ring finally gone from his finger, the skin beneath it pale and new, like the skin of a man who has just stepped out of a very long dream. His eyes are wet, but the tears do not fall. They only glisten, quiet and private, the way morning dew glisters on grass before the day decides what it will become. Customs is a blur of soft voices and rubber stamps and the faint scent of coffee from a distant kiosk. No one stops him. No one even looks twice. The man who was once the most wanted thief of secrets walks free under a California sky so blue it feels like forgiveness made visible. A car waits at arrivals. Simple, black, anonymous. The driver says nothing, only nods once, the way old friends nod when words would be too heavy. Cobb slides into the back seat and closes his eyes for the short ride home. The leather is warm from the sun. The air conditioning whispers cool across his skin. And for the first time in years he is not counting seconds, not timing kicks, not measuring the spin of a brass top. He is only breathing, slow and deep, the way you are breathing now, slow and deep, letting the last of the dream settle gently into the soft earth of memory. The car turns into a quiet street lined with sycamore trees whose leaves rustle like pages turning in a beloved book. A white house with green shutters waits at the end of a gravel drive, porch swing moving slightly though there is no wind. And there, in the backyard, under the same sunlight that has followed him across oceans and decades and layers of dreaming, are James and Philippa. They are older than the photographs he has carried in his wallet like pressed flowers. But their laughter is exactly the same, bright bells ringing across green grass. Philippa wears a yellow dress that flutters when she runs. James has grass stains on both knees and a grin wide enough to hold the whole world. Cobb steps out of the car slowly, afraid the scene will dissolve the way dreams dissolve when you reach for them too quickly. But the gravel is real under his shoes, the air smells of cut lawn and distant jasmine, and the children see him. They see him. "Daddy!" Philippa shrieks, and the word is sunlight made sound. They run to him, small feet pounding, arms already open, and he drops to his knees just in time to catch them both. Their bodies are warm and solid and alive, hair smelling of baby shampoo and summer, cheeks sticky with melted popsicle. He buries his face in Philippa's neck and breathes her in the way drowning men breathe air, long, shuddering, grateful. Behind them, on the wooden patio table, sits the little brass spinning top. It catches the sunlight and throws it back in slow, perfect circles. Cobb lifts his head, looks at it for 1 heartbeat, 2 heartbeats, 3. The children tug at his hands, pulling him toward the garden, toward swings and laughter and ordinary, impossible life. And in that moment he makes the choice that matters more than any kick, any level, any dream. He turns his back on the top without waiting to see if it falls. He chooses the weight of small arms around his neck, the sound of his daughter asking him to push her higher, higher, daddy, higher, the feel of his son's sticky fingers laced through his own. The camera, our gentle, loving camera, lingers on the table for one last breath. The top spins, steady, endless, beautiful. It wobbles, just a fraction, then rights itself. Another tiny wobble. And then, the screen fades to black before we ever know for certain. The sound of children laughing lingers, soft, then softer, until it becomes the sound of wind in the attic trees, rain against your bedroom window, my voice curling around you like the last warm blanket of the night. Let me ask you one final question, whispered against the shell of your ear. When was the last time you chose to believe something was real simply because it felt like love? Hold that choice close now. Let it be the totem you carry into your own dreams tonight. Trivia. So soft it is barely more than breath. Hans Zimmer slowed Edith Piaf's song by such tiny increments that the human ear cannot tell where reality ends and dream begins, exactly the way childhood ends and adulthood begins, exactly the way waking and sleeping blur when you are perfectly tired. You have traveled so far with me, through rain and snow and zero-gravity hallways, through guilt sharp as broken mirrors and forgiveness soft as beach sand after the tide has gone out. You have carried Cobb's sorrow and Mal's smile and the weight of a brass top that maybe finally fell. And now there is nothing left to do except let everything go. The attic lamp has dimmed to its lowest amber glow. The rain has softened to the gentlest drizzle. The book closes with the quietest sigh, pages settling like birds settling into nests for the night. You are home. You are loved. You are asleep. Good night, sweet dreamer. The children are laughing somewhere in the sunlit garden of your heart, and the top no longer matters at all.